Was there ever a doubt? Was there ever a doubt? The Buffs pull off the huge upset going into Florida and dominating them 48-21, being 14-point underdogs going into the game. I mean, I'm not shocked because I've been watching this team play and we can finally play to our full potential. I think this was definitely the most well-rounded game in the Coach Prime era. And there's a bunch of storylines coming off of this game. Is Travis Hunter Heisman potential? Can the Buffs win the Big 12? We're going to get into both of these comments. But first, welcome in everybody to Buffs Banter presented by Believe Network. My name is Dean Frank, and I'm here with my co-host, Oscar Gonzalez-Moore. We've been here covering this team every single week, and for us to get this win out of the way, it just makes me feel so good because I just want everyone to hop on the bandwagon. And if you're not, just stay away because, man, the narrative needs to switch now because this team is the real deal. What do you think, Oscar?
The narrative does need to switch now. I still don't think we're going to win the college football playoffs. Maybe now there's a chance, but I do think we are actually contenders for the Big 12. I think a lot of people just saw us winning, if they were optimistic about this team, winning another 2 games or so. But, man, the way we just went into the bouncy house and handled this Florida football team, you know what I mean? We said it was like a homecoming for a lot of our guys too, but this is Florida football at the end of the day. You know what I mean? This is a well-respected team in the Big 12, and we just manhandled them. And it wasn't even all Shedeur. You know what I mean? It's usually Shedeur saving Colorado's asses. It was, like you said, a very well-rounded game. We had 128 yards on the ground, which was impressive from a bunch of different options, which we'll get into in a little bit. But, I mean, who's next? You know what I mean? Like Kansas State, that's probably going to be easily going to be our biggest challenge up to this date. But right now, let's focus on UCF, and we'll talk. I'm sure we'll talk about Kansas State a little later down the road in this podcast.
Yes, sir. So the biggest takeaway we had going into this game, we knew that UCF was a super big rushing team. With RJ Harvey, he averaged over 200 yards a game, and this rushing team averaged over 400. So for us to limit them to under 200 yards, I think is definitely a big deal. And I think we need to really start looking at this rushing defense seriously. Our linebackers are the real deal. And, we know that, but I think it's time for everyone to start looking at that in that perspective because we were able to they couldn't really get anything going. I mean, it was a bunch of small plays, and we knew they were going to be a very run-heavy team. I guess, let's see, how many rushing yards did KJ Jefferson have? He had 76. Jesus. Okay. Yeah, I mean, he obviously is him. But anyways, just holding them to under 200, I think, was a big deal. And our defense, week in and week out, keeps us in this game. Robert Livingston, our defensive coordinator, first year as a defensive coordinator coming from the Bengals. I mean, he needs to be a head coach soon. He needs to be we do not deserve to have him on this defense because every single week this defense plays better. And we knew this was going to be probably our biggest test as a run game. And we came out there, we stopped him. Shedeur threw an interception, and we got the pick right back, and we were able to just keep our heads up and just play with discipline, man. I mean, it was a beatdown, 48-21.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost one of those games where I would have felt like, okay, when is this team going to come back? You know what I mean? Like, it's got to be closer than this. And it really, after the first half was over, like, we really never looked back. I think something that is being underlooked too is like UCF actually had more total yards than Colorado this game, but didn't even put up half the points they did. And that'll just go back to, obviously they're getting the ball every single time we score. But if DJ McKinney and Cameron Silman Craig are getting picks, you know what I mean? There's only so much these yards are going to do for you. Very impressed by the defense. Obviously, you said KJ Jefferson is going to be KJ Jefferson. He didn't have a terrible game himself. But one key I did say in the preview for this game is let's make this guy throw the fucking ball. He was averaging 20 attempts per game through the air, and he had almost double that. And you see what happens. You know what I mean? It's not hard math. Like, the guy is not going to be as comfortable as he is throwing. 20 is like honestly a relatively small sample size. And it's not like I watched a lot of UCF ball, but that being said, you double that. against a defense that has been upcoming and has maybe arrived in the college football scene, you're due for some turnovers. And that's exactly what we did. We got him uncomfortable and we got him to turn over the ball.
Yeah, and for the viewers that might have missed the game, let's look into a little bit of stats. I mean, obviously, we had 2 picks, and one of them being Travis Hunter, Superman himself, putting up the Heisman pose after, which made me shiver because, oh my God, he is him. And
I'm sorry, Travis did have a pick. I might have read the wrong. I was looking. Excuse me. I was looking at fumbles, not picks. Those guys had 2 fumbles, so fumble recoveries. But yeah, the Travis pick was absurd, and the Preston Hodge one was really nice as well.
Yeah, in the Hodge one just kept us in the game because, I mean, we haven't really seen Shadur make like that type of error. I mean, I guess we did in Nebraska, but obviously Nebraska was just a tough atmosphere. And just being here, like, for Preston Hodge to get that pick back on the in the end zone too, it's just like, okay, they got our offenses back. So our defense is there. Yeah, we had 2 interceptions and 2 fumble recoveries. Obviously, Cameron Sumlin Craig bringing back one for 93 yards, which was awesome to watch because, I mean, he deserves it. He's a guy who just does everything for this team and just he's our rock, you know. So without him, I don't know where we would be. But looking at some offensive snaps, the first guy I really want to look at is Will Sheppard. Let's talk about it real quick because I know you remember this last week in Baylor. 5 seconds left on the clock. He misses on the goal line. He misses that Hail Mary. And I'm sure after that game, I'm sure he had to be down on himself because, I mean, luckily we won, obviously. But to miss that in front of everybody under the Saturday night lights, everybody watching, like, it's tough. So for him to bounce back, 4 for 99 with the touchdown and probably one of the best catches of the year with the Moss, the diving catch on a Hail Mary, he obviously made a name for himself and he bounced back huge, which was great to see. And then, you know, our wide receivers did great. I mean, I love how the ball just passed around pretty evenly everywhere with LeJounte and Jimmy Horn. And then obviously we got to talk about Travis Hunter himself, 9 for 89. He didn't get he ended that 100-game catching yard streak, which is all right because he had a touchdown of his own. But man, with the pick as well, like if you watch that pick back, he pretty much was covering 3 different guys, and he just made that decision. And just like it reminds me of that first game last year in TCU when he made that diving interception because it's just like no one else does that. It maybe like as a viewer, it looks like okay, like it was a nice grab, but like if you really look at that play, what he did was to like pretty like he no one else does that is what I'll say, and I'll keep glazing him because he needs to win Heisman, and we need to keep talking about that because going into the game he was like at 8th in odds to win the Heisman. Now he's definitely moved up, but each week this happens, and like I don't want people to act surprised when he wins Heisman and when he's standing at the podium in New York with the Heisman Trophy because he is the best player in all of college football, and there's no question about it.
I think I totally agree with you. I mean, this is undeniably something we've never seen before. A lot of people say he's the Shohei of football. And honestly, that's the best. That's the closest thing you can say about it. And that's not even close. You know what I mean? Like, one, Shohei's in baseball. Baseball is not as big as football. And 2, the things playing offense and defense is a lot different than being an insane pitcher and hitting dingers.
Hold up. We're not dissing Shohei right now. Let's talk about football.
We're not.
Because Shohei is his own animal of himself. And he didn't even pitch this year, bro. But these two guys are just, they're not human like.
Yeah. No, I get it in the sense that like they're both like I don't even know the word what I'm looking for right now, but they're both doing something that's never been done before on both sides of the field, if that makes sense. I just think it's a lot harder to play offense and defense than doing what Shohei is doing, I guess. Anyways, that's besides the point. The point is Travis Hunter is going to be the Heisman this year. And I swear to God, like, this needs to go to, if it goes to a quarterback, maybe that just had like a killer year, you know, maybe if Jalen Milroe brings the team, like beats Georgia again in the college football playoffs and then goes up against Texas, like I could see it. But I think if Colorado wins 2 or 3 more games and the quarterback play and the rest of the field is pretty average, mediocre, like nobody's a standout guy, this should go to Travis. I mean, what he's doing is incredible. What is never been done before. Every single game, there is a couple, not one. Like a lot of guys, like a lot of people are saying, like Caleb Williams, at least every practice makes a wow factor play. This guy makes a couple every game. You know what I mean? I can't even imagine what he's doing in practice. But Travis is just a different animal, and we've never seen anything like this. And he's my Heisman, and I hope more people start to feel that way, I guess, too, that are making these decisions.
At this point, if you like, if the people out there in the media that just don't think that or don't even think he should be in the conversation, just have something against Colorado football and Deion Sanders, because obviously this team is very unconventional and we've seen that. But last year when we did this, we were 3-1 and then we ended up losing like the next 7. But for this was such a big game because us to win at away too, it's just like it shows that this team is different. The main thing I got to talk about and give some claps for our O-line. Only 2 sacks this game. Only 2 sacks. We knew this. I mean, everybody knows this looking at this Colorado team is like when Shedeur has time in the pocket, when he has a couple seconds, magic happens. Shedeur magic. And that happened. I mean, he threw for 28 for 35, super efficient, 290 and 3 touchdowns. Great to see him have another bounce back game. Obviously, we talked about the pick. It happens. It happens. He's human. But for our team to be able to just pick him up, and I guess we do got to talk about this running game as well, because we have a 3-headed dragon running back room now? I mean, Michael Welch, Dallin Hayden, Isaiah Augusta, and like any single game, any of them can be like higher in the rankings. I guess it really just depends on how we use them. But it was great seeing Hayden get into the end zone for the first time. And Augusta ended up being the biggest rusher with only 4 for 39, average of almost 10 yards a carry. So whoever steps up is there, man. And I think just like with this team, I think kind of unlike that Nebraska game, which we didn't like how it seemed like everyone kind of had their head downs. Everyone might have been blaming other person. Like it looks like this team is the real deal now because we got each other's back. We believe in each other, and it's really next man up. Someone gets hurt, next person stands up and makes a tackle, gets a fumble recovery. Whatever we got to do. This team has grit.
Yeah. Going back to that Shedeur pick, the resilience you just have to have, man. It's just different. The intangibles this guy brings to the table. I mean, you throw a pick very similar to the pick you threw in Lincoln, Nebraska, where you guys got torched. And that's the first drive in Florida in the Bounty House. I'm sure that was the loudest it was all day in that stadium. And I'm sure it was freaking loud, man. But just the resilience you have to just eat that. You know what I mean? Probably like go up to your guys, apologize, like, hey, bad throw on me. Next set of downs, let's get back to it. And then come out and score 48 points. I mean, that's just different, bro. He's got that dog in him, or he's got that leader, I guess, if you want to go that route. Dog and leader, whatever, man. He is QB1 of this draft, too. You know what I mean? It's like if we didn't have Mr. Hunter on our team, I'm sure we would be talking about Shedeur Sanders for Heisman just as much, which is crazy. But yeah, love that. On the other side of the ball, not only did I guess we just gave up 2 sacks, but we also got to the quarterback 5 times, which is like, let's go. Like we kind of knew, we didn't know if Central Florida was going to switch it up, but we did know they didn't love to blitz, that they had the second fewest sacks in the country. So I'm not like super surprised that we only gave up 2 sacks, although that is definitely a pro. I think it is awesome that we were able to get to the quarterback 5 times. For me, that's definitely the bigger pro, because like this freaking front 7 on the defensive side of the ball needed something like this. You know what I mean? Like BJ Green, we totally thought he was going to be the guy. It doesn't really seem like that through 5 games into the college football season. I mean, he had, I think, a half tackle. Yeah, he had a half tackle for loss in the game. But like, there are so many people that weren't even on our radar at the beginning of the season that are just making a name for themselves. And that's what Colorado football is about, man. Like you come in here, especially this year, so many players through the transfer portal, earn it. It doesn't matter if you played for Dion before, or you were 4-star, or you played at a prestigious school, like you got to earn it. And I think that's what everyone's learning. And I think that's the best way to mesh a team and why this is like folding together so well.
Definitely. And I think it's just funny, though. Just like the narrative, every single game shifts because before this game, we saw that post where we were the underdogs in every single game, like after Baylor.
Yeah.
And now it's just like the complete opposite. Now I saw something where it's like, oh, we're only expected to lose against Kansas State. Like, make up your mind, media. Come on. Like, we know what side we're on.
It's
Like,
terrible.
I don't like the bandwagon because then it's like people are just going to say, oh, we're fake fans. It's like, oh, should Boulder be ranked right now? Could Colorado be ranked right now? And then the haters are going to be like, no, you haven't played against anyone ranked. So there's always just like an opposite side to it. I think we just got to live in the moment and enjoy this. I mean, we were 14-point underdogs. I love how the narrative shifts and just like people got to just keep doubting on this team because that's what Shedeur lives for. He lives in the moment. Like he talked in his press conference after the game. Like, yup, he is the son of a Hall of Famer, top 10 NFL player ever, and his dad is a coach. Sure. But he's making a name for himself. And it's obvious. I mean, this ain't no nepotism anymore. Like, we see what Shedeur can do, and he is the real deal. So, yeah, like you said about Travis, I mean, if he wasn't there, we got 1A and 1B for Heisman right now. And how big was this win? I guess just final takes as we look into next week. But how big was this win going into a bye?
Yeah, I mean, if you just think about how big, if you flip the script, I guess, and think about if we had lost this game, especially the way Kansas State took care of Oklahoma State, I mean, we would not be in good condition. I don't think the next 2 weeks of covering this team would even be fun. You know what I mean? It would be hard to even if we tried to fake like be optimistic about Colorado, it would be hard. You know what I mean? But especially with where the media was at, where the spread was at, this win is huge. I mean, we feel good. We have a week to rest up against maybe the best team in the Big 12 as of right now. I know Kansas State. I think they have a game next week. I don't think they have a bye. I'm checking right now. Oh, no, they have a bye as well. Okay. So both teams will be well rested, and we'll see who wants it more. I honestly, good. Glad they have a bye. You know what I mean? We'll see. No excuses now.
There's literally no excuses. We want all the smoke because this team is the real deal. This was a huge win, man. We're going to look back at this and be like, 20, like being like how rare is that being 14-point underdogs and winning by 20? That doesn't happen often. But man, we knew this was going to happen if you watched our preview because we knew this team was a real deal. And keep tuning in. We love it, whether it's hate or just anything really, because we're here, we're learning. Like us to see this happen in the Coach Prime era, probably the best win we've had in a minute. It's just like it feels great. And as a Boulder fan, we got to live in the present because we really don't know what's going to happen next year. And so we just got to witness greatness while it is. I'm happy we're at home against Kansas State. Like you said, it's going to be a great game. And yeah, final thoughts.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it. Walked out with the dub. I honestly, final thought, now you say it, it's funny how calm and almost like sure we were that Colorado was going to win that game against UCF. But hey, we said it here first. If you want picks like this, not like we're throwing picks, but we got ball knowledge. So tap into the pod.
Yes, sir. And make sure to follow us on all socials at Instagram at Buffs Banter. Our YouTube is cooking. Just want to keep it going now because, this team is fun to cover and we're just doing this for fun. But if we can end up making a little something out of nothing, like we'll see what happens. But appreciate y'all for tuning in. Again, my name is Dean Frank. I'm here with Oscar Gonzalez Moore. Thanks for watching Buffs Banter.
Let's go Buffs.